This is things I wish I could say in Sunday school. I want to share some thoughts and ideas that are different than what we usually hear. My goal is to be really honest rather than inherently faith-promoting. I hope these ideas may spark some interesting discussions with your friends, families, or classes. Please enjoy. This is a lesson for April 27th through May 3rd, Exodus chapters 35 through 40, and Leviticus chapters 1, 4, 16, and 19. Today's topics are the Tabernacle, animal sacrifice, and Leviticus. The main topic of this lesson in the manual is the Tabernacle. There are two things that I want to say about the Tabernacle. In the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we like to emphasize any ways that our temples are like the Tabernacle. Washings, anointings, special garments, veils, etc., etc. The parallels are all kind of a stretch in my opinion, and the truth is that our temple rituals were largely plagiarized from the Freemasons. I spoke about this more in depth when I covered the Doctrine and Covenants. The second thing that I kept thinking while reading the chapters for this lesson is that one of the main points of the tabernacle was so that God could be there among the people more. Sounds great at first, but then comes the litany of barriers between God and the people. The tabernacle isn't really for the people, it's for the priests. People can bring an offering to the tabernacle, but it's a priest who performs the offering. Then even among the priests, only the high priest can enter the Holy of Holies, only one day a year. That's a lot of barriers between God and everyone. The only people who benefit from this kind of arrangement is the men in charge. It all reminds me of the Wizard of Oz and the pay no attention to the man behind the curtain idea. It's also easy to draw current parallels to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where the people are told that we have a prophet who communes with God, so the church, in obedience to whatever the men in charge in the church say, is the only way we can get closer to God. It's pretty much the same in other churches too. I just think it's nonsense. God doesn't have special favored people that are the only ones who can access God. We all can in our own ways. Good heavenly parents would want all their children to be able to connect with them directly, no intermediaries. The other main topic of this lesson is animal sacrifice. I think all the parallels between animal sacrifices and Jesus Christ are really interesting, especially because these rituals were so ancient. We talk about them in church all the time, so I don't feel the need to go into depth. I am a person that is pretty uncomfortable with killing animals, yet I eat meat, and I know there is plenty of hypocrisy there. So I question the real need for killing and blood to compensate for sin, while knowing full well the church answer is that animal sacrifice was to point people to Jesus. And after Jesus, we don't need to spill blood to attain forgiveness for sin anymore. And I know this sounds blasphemous, but why do we even need Jesus' blood to cleanse us from sin? Rituals and symbolism can be nice and have some spiritual benefits. But I guess I view the whole sin and forgiveness cycle as a developmental stage of faith. If we're really maturing to become more like our heavenly parents, I think many of us move beyond these ideas being helpful. I don't need a ritual now to level up being a better person. I just try to be better. I think about my impact on others and who I really want to be and make plans for improvement all the time. I also think many people get kind of stuck in the sin and forgiveness cycle. It becomes comfortable. People almost stop really trying to do better because the cycle makes their flaws okay. Like they are already addressing it by being in the cycle, doing the animal sacrifice or taking the sacrament or communion or whatever. And it just stays on repeat. It gives the illusion of progress. Again, the people who benefit from others being dependent on ritual forgiveness are the men in charge who administer that ritual forgiveness. I just want to focus on real spiritual maturing and becoming like our heavenly parents. I feel conflicted saying all of this. It feels a little blasphemous, but I honestly believe that part of growing up is moving past the somewhat immature need of having our sins absolved. That's an illusion. We can and do become better people just by striving to be better. Outsourcing our spiritual well-being in a quest for absolution keeps us stuck and holds us back. I'm moving on to my final topic today, the book of Leviticus. The lesson manual doesn't spend much time in Leviticus. I get it. My first attempt at reading the Old Testament ended in Leviticus. It's a lot of rules. It feels super repetitive. It's also brutal. It's incredibly cruel to women, describing menstruating women as unclean. Leviticus also has some of the only verses in all the scriptures against homosexuality, one mentioned in chapter 18 and one in chapter 20. Yet Christianity at large has created an entire industry vilifying gay people. The verses only mention men, by the way. Gay sex between men is an abomination, according to 2 verses in an entire gigantic book. No mention of women having sex with each other at all. Just want to point that out. The foundation for the extreme hatred targeting gay people is so flimsy if we actually look at it. It's 2 verses in a book full of nitpicky rules that no one actually believes in or practices for millennia. There's much more discussion about unclean animals, yet these good Christians will hate on our gay brothers and sisters all day, but they would raise a living hell if you tried to take away their bacon. So much hypocrisy. I want to close by reading a few verses in Leviticus 19. I'm going to read verses 9 and 10, and then 33 and 34. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and stranger. I am the Lord your God. Then verse 33. And if a stranger sojourn with thee in your land, ye shall not vex him. But the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you. And thou shalt love him as thyself, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. These verses stuck out to me. This is love, caring for others. I just think the way religion, and specifically white Christianity, is such a tool for its own screwed up agenda, instead of actually doing what Jesus taught, to love and care for others, especially the poor and immigrants. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening. Please share with family and friends. Until next time.